Welcome to the Golden Valley Light Railway video platform. This is a stockbook series video. Baguley Drewry, 3753 Darcy. Now that she is out of the running shed, let's take a look around Darcy. Darcy was built in 1980 by the Baguley Drewry Company in Burton-upon-Trent in the United Kingdom. A Type 040 of 70 horsepower with the works number of 3753, she was part of a build run of 19 locomotives from 1973 to 1984. Supplied new to the Royal Navy, she was deployed to the armament depot at Drewry in South Wales. When the depot was closed, she was sold into preservation, along with other examples of the class. Later versions were rated at 99 horsepower, with a bigger engine. The Talyllyn Railway have 3 like that, only 2 are operational, one is called Drewry. A similar 70 horsepower example is at the Baguley Museum. Darcy's axles are driven through chains, via a simple gearbox and a torque converter drive, like a traditional automatic car. The cab has a full-size door, and it is easily opened. But climbing up in, using the single footstep is not easy when the door is swinging shut and you are holding a camera. Uh-oh, I failed, and nearly fell. Let's try a little bit of help this time. I will wedge the door open with this coupling rod that's under the rather tatty second seat. That should stop it swinging shut on me. Right then, here we go. We're up and oh no, my jacket is caught on the door handle. Ah, I'm free now. At last, I'm in and able to sit down. Who knew filming for YouTube would be this difficult? When in the driver's seat, you realize that this is quite a spacious cab, with good visibility to the front, to the side, and out the back. And as we pan up, there is the rear screen wiper. Then looking down, you see it has a demister vent. What luxury! As we swing our viewing direction around, and pause the video, you can see to the left the brake lever, and directly in front of the driver is the main control box. The top half houses the light switches, ignition switch and a gauge that shows if the battery is being charged, called an amp meter. The bottom half of the panel houses the forwards and backwards speedometer, the loco air pressure gauges, and an engine oil pressure gauge. Up in the top right of the view, above the flag, you can partially see the train brake pipe air pressure gauge and the red emergency brake lever. With the video still paused, but with our viewpoint swung around to the front, you can see a few more of the controls upon the engine bulkhead. The bigger lever is the throttle, to control the engine speed. Below it is the horn control, and to its left, the little black pull knob is the engine stop. To the right of the throttle, the brass-colored knob is for the screen washers. Darcy has all the mod cons. To the right of that, the cream-colored docket or placard holder is probably left over from her military service. If we then look down to the door side of the driver's seat, you can see the gear selector lever coming out the side of the heater box, to which the seat is bolted. And then finally, down in the front left corner, is the dead man's pedal. Without this depressed, the loco cannot be driven. Now, climbing back out the cab, let's look at some of Darcy's external features. First we see the handles to help you climb up in, and the step hole in the frame. Moving around to the rear of the loco, we see the pin-type coupler, that is built into a weight that forms the buffer. This is bolted directly to the substantial frame. Then hanging down is the air pipe to connect to the train and its control valve. It should really be tucked up out of the way to prevent damage. There is the maker's plate and the headlight for rearwards travel. There is a chip in the paint which reveals beneath her current livery she was previously painted yellow, like all the locos at Trequan. And then at the bottom the red marker lights. As we move around the side, you can see that the lower side frames are navy blue, not black. As we pan up the cab, you can see the aluminium framed side windows. The rear panel slides forward to open. At the front, you can see the exact same coupler setup as at the rear, but at least at this end the rubber pipe has been stowed out of harm's way. There are, for rearwards travel, marker lights here too. Then as we move in, you can see the radiator grille, and above that, the headlight, and the maker's name plate. You can see, sticking up from the top of the engine cover at the front corner, is the air intake. Towards the rear, in the center of the cover is the diesel fuel filler. Then, down on the side cover, a circular viewing window can be found for checking the fuel level gauge. Let's take a look at the engine. Darcy's engine side covers are removed by lifting and tilting out at the bottom, then placing out of harm's way. Thanks, Oliver. Starting at the rear. As we move in, you can see the large diesel fuel tank with its level gauge at the top rear of the compartment, and then, below it, the screen washer fluid bottle. Looking in deeper, the axle drive chains are visible, along with the air tank. Above that is the main gearbox and the propeller shaft with its universal joints. Moving forward, you see the engine. It is a Perkins 4236. You can see the generator, the cooling fan and radiator. The exhaust can be seen going up and rearwards, and behind the air horns is the inlet pipe going forward to the intake. As we look down, there is the sandbox filler. On the other side, back by the cab, is the battery box. It holds the 12-volt battery used to start Darcy. Looking up, you see the flexible part of the exhaust pipe coming from the other side of the engine. Then, zooming in on the engine, you can see the direct drive air compressor with its blue inlet filter and pipes going back towards the cab. At the front is another air tank, and if we look in deeper, the radiator filler cap with the radiator top hose coming forward from the thermostat housing. The injector pump is just visible behind the compressor. Looking down on the side of the engine, there is the engine oil dipstick. There are the fuel filters, and attached to the cylinder head, you can see the 4 diesel fuel injectors. Looking back toward the rear, you can see the exhaust silencer. The pipe then turns and goes out through the top of the engine cowl and runs up behind a cover, with the outlet up above the cab. That concludes our video tour of Darcy. Thanks for watching this stockbook series video from the Golden Valley Light Railway. If you enjoyed it, please acknowledge this by clicking on the thumbs up button under the video player. It will help our channel grow. Please leave us a comment or ask a question. What other piece of rolling stock would you like to see a video on? Did you spot something pink in the cab, tucked up hiding away? There were 2 pairs of them.